You know, most people assume that financial intelligence is just a fancy term for making a high salary. They think if they just get that one promotion or land that one big client, all their money problems will magically disappear. But if that were true, why do so many lottery winners go completely broke? Why do highly paid doctors and corporate executives still live paycheck to paycheck? Drowning in anxiety? The truth is, earning money is only a tiny fraction of the game. Financial intelligence isn't a single trait you are simply born with, it is a ladder. And depending on which rung you are currently standing on, you are either working for your money or your money is working for you today. We are breaking down the absolute hierarchy of money mastery. By the end of this video, you will know exactly where you currently stand. And more importantly, the exact mindset shifts you need to make to reach the top. Welcome to Orionix, the place where future billionaires come to get inspired. Number 1. Financial unconsciousness. At the very bottom of the ladder, money is a complete mystery. People at this level view money purely as a mechanism for immediate consumption. They get paid, and the money instantly flows outward to pay for rent, food, and mostly liabilities they don't actually need. They don't track anything. If you ask them where their money went at the end of the month, they genuinely have no idea. At this level, there is zero gap between income and expenses. In fact, most of the time, the expenses exceed the income, which forces them into a cycle of predatory consumer debt. They are entirely reactive. Life just happens to them financially. And they deeply believe that their permanent state of struggling is just the way the world works or the fault of the economy. Number 2, defensive budgeting. This is the first awakening. At level 2, a person finally realizes that if they don't take control of their cash flow, they are going to drown. So, they start tracking their spending. They download the budgeting apps. They clip the coupons. And they start severely restricting their lifestyle. Now, this is a massive step up from level 1. Absolutely. But it comes with a psychological trap. You see, defensive budgeters operate from a mindset of deep scarcity. Their entire financial focus is on playing defense, on finding things to cut out of their life. But the brutal math of reality is that you can only cut costs so much until you hit rock bottom. You cannot shrink your way to wealth. They are disciplined. Yes, but they are playing a game with a very low ceiling. Number 3, debt comprehension. The moment someone steps onto level 3, they realize that not all money is created equal, and not all debt is evil. Up until this point, the average person believes that debt is a universal trap that will ruin your life. But at level 3, you learn to separate consumer debt from productive debt. You aggressively wipe out your high-interest credit cards and personal loans because you understand they are a silent tax on your future. But simultaneously, you stop fearing leverage. You begin to understand that the ultra-rich actually use debt to acquire assets that produce cash flow. You stop using credit to buy things that lose value. And you start looking at ways to use borrowed capital to finance things that pay you back. This is the exact moment you transition from being a financial victim to a financial participant. Number 4, savings and inflation awareness. At this level, you've got a surplus. You are finally making more than you spend. You've wiped out your bad debt, and your bank account is actually growing. Now, society tells you to stop here, right? Just save your money in a traditional bank, play it safe, and retire at 65. But a level 4 thinker understands the silent thief in the room: inflation. You realize that keeping large amounts of cash sitting idle in a savings account means you are mathematically guaranteed to lose purchasing power every single year. Cash is no longer a store of value to you, it is a melting block of ice. You realize that you have to convert this cash into something else if you actually want to survive the economic machine. And, realizing that the old rules of money no longer work can be a pretty terrifying moment. You suddenly understand that you need a completely new financial education to move forward. And that is exactly why we built the Orionix app. We wanted to create an environment where ambitious people can learn the unwritten rules of wealth directly from the experts who actually use them. Inside the app, you get daily coaching sessions and full-length masterclasses on everything from scaling your income to investing to building an unbreakable mindset. It is basically a millionaire mentor right in your pocket, guiding you step by step to the higher levels of financial intelligence. If you are serious about climbing this ladder, download the Orionix app today. If you scan the QR code on screen right now, you will lock in an exclusive 25% off your yearly membership. Invest in your own mind. My friend, it is the one asset that compounds forever. I'll see you on the inside. Moving on to number 5, income scalability. Once you understand that saving alone won't make you rich, your entire focus shifts toward offense. You realize that your current income is directly tied to the hours you work, which means your wealth is capped by your physical exhaustion. So, you break the link. At level 5, you learn the art of increasing your value in the marketplace. You stop asking for a raise based on seniority or loyalty, and you start demanding higher compensation based on the specific, measurable value you bring. You learn high-income skills like sales, negotiation, or coding. Or you start a business. You understand that the market doesn't care how hard you work. It only cares about the scale of the problem you solve. When you reach this level, making money stops being a mystery and becomes a repeatable, a logical formula. Number 6, asset allocation and compounding. This is where you officially cross the line from just earning money to actually building wealth. You take the massive surplus you've generated at level 5 and you aggressively deploy it into productive assets. You are buying broad index funds. You are acquiring real estate. You are investing in private businesses. You understand the profound power of compound interest, not just as a math concept, but as a lifestyle. At level 6, you don't care about flashy luxury items or upgrading your car just to impress people, because you measure the cost of things not in dollars, but in the future compounded value of those dollars. You are no longer working for your money. Your money has put on a hard hat and gone to work for you. You have built an engine that runs quietly in the background. Tiefen je Arschese. growing your net worth while you sleep. Number 7, systemic leverage. The higher you climb, the less your wealth relies on your own physical effort. At level 7, you are a master of leverage. You don't just use your own money, you use other people's money. You don't just use your own time, you use other people's time. You hire incredibly smart operators to run your businesses. You leverage software and automation to streamline your processes. You leverage the media to reach millions of people at zero marginal cost. You transition from being a worker to becoming an architect of systems. If you walk away from your desk for 6 months, your income doesn't drop, it actually continues to grow. At this level of financial intelligence, you understand that your only real job is to make a handful of high-level, strategic decisions every year, and let your systems execute the rest. Number 8, tax strategy and legal structuring. Look, okay, making millions of dollars is great, but keeping it is a completely different skill set. The average earner pays their taxes before they even see their money. The financially intelligent at level 8 understand that the tax code is not a punishment. It is a rule book that rewards specific economic behaviors. They don't evade taxes. They optimize them. They use holding companies, trusts, and strategic corporate structures to legally shield their wealth. They understand depreciation, capital gains, and tax-deferred investments. They buy assets that allow them to write off their lifestyle legally. At this stage, your accountant and your lawyer become the absolute most important members of your team. You realize that ignorance of the tax code is the most expensive penalty in the modern world, and you simply refuse to pay it. Number 9, generational wealth engineering. Most people build a fortune only to watch their children or grandchildren completely squander it. It is a well-known fact that wealth rarely survives the 3rd generation. But someone operating at level 9 anticipates this. You are no longer thinking in terms of your own lifespan. You are thinking in decades and centuries. You establish irrevocable trusts, family offices, and strict governance rules for how your capital can be accessed and deployed by your heirs. You don't just pass down a large bank account, you pass down a financial philosophy. You build an infrastructure that protects your family's wealth from lawsuits, bad investments, and their own potential incompetence. You are essentially designing an economic empire that is mathematically engineered to outlive you. Number 10, total autonomy and global impact. This is the absolute peak. At level 10, money completely loses its meaning as a survival tool or even as a status symbol. You have so much capital, and your systems are so bulletproof. That wealth is just an abstract measurement of your ability to shape reality. At this level, your financial intelligence is channeled toward global impact. You are funding innovation, backing massive charitable movements, and building institutions that change how humanity operates. You have bought back 100% of your time, and no one on earth can tell you what to do. You operate with total sovereignty. The game of money has been entirely beaten. And now, you are simply deciding what kind of legacy you want to leave behind. And since you stuck with us until the very end, Orionixer, here is your secret bonus. True financial intelligence is realizing that enough is a superpower. You see, Society pushes you to endlessly chase more. More money, more status, more zeros in the bank account. But the smartest financial minds eventually reach a point where they clearly define what their version of enough looks like. Once you hit that personal threshold where your lifestyle is completely funded and your family is completely secure, continuing to sacrifice your time, your health, or your peace of mind for extra money you don't even need is actually a sign of low financial intelligence. Knowing how to win the game is crucial. But knowing when to stop playing and just enjoy the absolute freedom you've built, that is the ultimate flex. So, we are curious to hear from you. Which of these 10 levels are you currently operating on? And what is your immediate plan to reach the next one? Let us know in the comments below. We read every single one. Thanks for spending some time with us today. Oreonyxer, keep building. Keep growing. And we'll see you back here next time. Until then, take care.